It's time! Singing of Pundits, UFC Special Fight Island! Who's pumped?
Yeah.
It's more relevant when you do it now.
I'm very pumped.
There you go.
Very, very pumped.
If Bruce Buffer can't make it, they'll fly you out.
Yeah. you got the energy.
I'm telling you. I hope it's recording. It's recording. It's fine. All right, cool. Guys, so I'm going to hand it over to Alex, who's going to introduce everyone and discuss some of the topics today. Alex, what's happening?
So we're joined by special guests, Izi, all the way from Malaysia, even though I'm in Harrow.
Nah,
here we are.
Wood Green, actually, but yeah.
Oh, is it? My bad.
Good to be here. Thank you for the invite, guys. Looking forward to the discussions coming up.
No worries. And we have the UFC guru, Denars, in the house.
Yeah, something like that.
We're going to be talking about a few of the topics today. Obviously, big fight card coming up, UFC 251. Just first up, guys, what do you guys think about how, Uncle Dana and co have reacted to this whole COVID thing? What do you guys think? Josh, let's say, or take it off with you.
So, Uncle Dana is a businessman and the ultimate businessman. He is the Vince McMahon to the people who don't know who Vince McMahon is. You guys suck. But he's the Vince McMahon of the fighting game without a shadow of a doubt. He found a way when everybody else was like, nah, we can't do this. Football is cancelled. Everything's cancelled. Basketball is cancelled. It was just like, Uncle Dana was like, I got some bills to pay. And Uncle Dana was just like, I'm going to try and find a way. And that's what he's done. That's what he's always done. I think that's one of the things that I think why we've got so many UFC fans, because that company always seems to zig when everyone's zagging. Do you know what I mean? So you got to appreciate Uncle Dana for that.
For sure, definitely. And even with it all, we've had like a lot of fights that have been really, really good fights, even fights of the year. I mean, Denars, what would you say is your favorite fight since lockdown started and whatnot?
It might even be that Poirier Hooker one. I think it was last weekend. If not, it will be the Joanna versus Weili fight. I forgot what that was. It seemed so long ago, but it was definitely this year.
It's definitely up there. Fight of the years.
Where Joanna was growing that thing out of her forehead.
Definitely.
But, I mean, it's weird because you're right. Like Dana White has been pushing these fights, and it's not even an MMA thing because it's just the UFC, as far as I'm aware. In terms of the big leagues, so one championship, Bellator,
none of them doing it. Yeah,
the UFC. Yeah. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone, but it's really just the UFC. So I think it is a Dana White thing. I don't know how much of it has to do with his relationship already existing with Abu Dhabi, and they've got like a set contracted amount of fights they have to do there every year. It's good. It's good for fight fans. I think we get 4 fights in the next 2 weeks. We're getting 4 fight cards.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. There's so many fights going on. I can't even keep up. I mean, Izzy, what about you? What's been your favorite fight so far?
I think the Gaethje and Ferguson fight, man. I was looking forward to that fight because especially being the first big fight after lockdown. I think honestly, going into that fight, I think Ferguson was going to destroy Gaethje, but I mean, it was completely the opposite. Gaethje, I never really rated him, to be honest. I thought it was just like the typical sort of like American fighter with the bit of the cocky sort of attitude, and Ferguson was going to beat him. But mate, Ferguson got given the beat down, and I think that was a great way for it to start. And ever since then, the fights have been sort of like up to caliber with the knockout of Cody Garbrandt. And he fought
I forgot about that knockout. That was
bang,
a dirty.
And O'Malley knocking out Eddie Wineland as well. And then with the Henry Cejudo fight and the Dominic Cruz. And, it's been a couple of fights. And you know what? The one coming up this week, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to top it off. It's going to be excellent. I'm looking forward to, Usman is a good fighter, but Masvidal stepping in, that's going to be fireworks. It's going to be
100%. Yeah.
I can't wait for that fight.
100%. I mean, that leads off obviously to the main card on the weekend. Sunday morning, 3 p.m. is when 3 a.m. is when it all kicks off. I guess since you led with it already, Izzy, with Usman and Masvidal. Josh, who are you picking for to take home? Is the BMF title up for grabs?
It's not up. So apparently the BMF title is not. It's not up for grabs because, according to Street Jesus himself, Usman is not a bad motherfucker, so it can't be up for grabs. That's what he's saying. I reckon that fight, if we're going to look at it, because all the time, that's why we love UFC, is because stars make fights. And if we're looking at Usman as an incredible wrestler, like, wrestlers usually stop strikers. But Masvidal is long in the tooth in the game. Like, a lot of people are just hearing about Masvidal now, but he's been around for, 16 years?
Time. He's a veteran.
Very long time. But I feel like betting Joshua would want to just put money on Street Jesus. But I would say he would have to knock him out in the first couple of rounds, and we've not seen Usman get starched at all. Just not seen it.
Yeah, when he fought Covington, he got starched a little bit, but I think he kept his composure very well. He didn't panic, and he just went back to the basics.
Kept going forward.
Does anyone know the betting line on it? Who's the under? I don't bet, so I don't know who's the under.
Usman's the favourite.
Yeah.
Is he?
3-1.
Wow.
3-1 for Jorge to win.
3-1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's tight, but I mean, Usman is the slight favourite with it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's such
I
a
mean,
big
he's
fight.
a champion, right?
You generally find that with anyone taking a short notice fight, they're usually the underdog. I can't think of a time when someone took a short notice fight and they were.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. I was, what I was thinking the other day. Yeah, I was like, was this whole not paying Masvidal thing and now him stepping in short notice, like planned all along? Was it planned all along just to build up the hype? Was Gilbert Burns gonna fight? I mean, now that I see, if I'm Uncle Dana and I'm the genius that I am, I'm like, why don't we act like it's not gonna happen? He's he's our most popular fighter at the moment. Let's act like it's not gonna happen. Get everyone real pissed off, and then just whack him in there. Now the pay-per-views are gonna go through the roof now, in my opinion, with him there. So it's gonna be
genius.
crazy.
It's a genius marketing strategy, right? Like,
if they are that smart.
if they are that smart.
Pardon?
They've done that before. I think when Eddie Alvarez was champion. Yeah, it's done something similar. When Eddie Alvarez was champion, they couldn't leverage a deal with Conor McGregor for UFC. I think it was 205 when he eventually beat Eddie Alvarez. So because they couldn't leverage a deal with him and he was negotiating money, they said, well, we'll offer it to Khabib then. And they actually sent Khabib the contract. They sent Khabib the contract. He signed it, and then they just said, no, we're going to go in this direction. Because there was that little argument between, it was public as well, like between Khabib and Ariel Helwani.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you report that they gave me a contract? And he goes, because I knew they gave you a contract just to leverage Conor McGregor.
Oh, actually, I didn't even know that. See,
the insiders from the NAS.
There you go. But the UFC guru.
I feel like it would be, there's got to be some legality around like offering Burns the fight, him signing, him getting promoted for it, and then doing it. So I think it's more likely just coincidence.
Unless they just fix the COVID test and be like, "Powers positive."
You never know.
It is a bit harsh though, isn't it? Imagine they've done that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's also the history between these lot as well. That's why it's such a big fight.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad.
Yeah, and as Nate Diaz says,
you see they were like having that squaring off and stuff, and it was so tense. It was so tense. Like, I mean, some fighters sort of like put it on, like they want to sell the fight, whatever. You can, whatever reason that is, but it just looked like Masvidal and Usman wanted to just beat each other up there and then.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. Moving on to the co-main event, we've got the rematch between Holloway and Volkanovski. What do you guys think about that? Josh, who do you think is winning that one? And how?
It's going to be hard because, again, I feel like the Australian guy had such a great... I'm bad with names, it's okay. The Australian guy has such a great... Alexander, that guy. The guy that used to play rugby.
Great.
Call him Alex if you want.
Alex the Great.
Alex the Great. I call him that. I call him Al. Let's call him Al because we're good friends like that. Let's call Al. The thing is, he had such a good strategy the last time round, and it's whether my man can adjust to it. Do you know what I mean? So that's going to be the difficulty of that, because essentially, especially them boys there in Australia and New Zealand, those fighters now like you see it with Izzy as well. They have such good game plans before they come into their fighting. I mean, Dan Hooker lost his fight, but it was close. So they all have really good strategies in what they're trying to do and what they're trying to achieve. So it's whether if he can overcome it. Do you know what I mean?
Can adjust. Yeah, I mean, Izzy, do you think Max has the fight IQ to switch up his game and obviously turn the loss into a W this time? What do you think?
I think he's, talked about him being the greatest featherweight of all time.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason why people are saying that, right? Because he's one of the greatest fighters in that division.
Yep.
And I think he can easily adjust. That's what makes a true champion. He's been through, tribulations before and he's risen. And I think, no disrespect to Volkanovski. He's a good fighter. He's strong. He's explosive. But I think Holloway can.
How does Holloway get the win? How does he get the win for you?
Oh, he has to. I think he has to keep his distance, fight smart, don't get into a brawl with Volkanovski, and just control the fight through distancing, through his being long kicks, jabs. Don't get into a clinch game with him because Volkanovski is a strong guy. He trains with Tiger Muay Thai, and he's a good striker. But at the end of the day, like you need to be able to be smart, especially when as from Volkanovski's point of view, as a champion, you can't. You got to be smart when you fight. You can't blindly go into a brawl because any one strike can hit you and you can get knocked out. So I guess Volkanovski will be a little bit on the fence because he has a lot to lose, right?
Yeah, 100%. And from what I remember from the first fight, I think Volkanovski was more on the back foot a bit more. If someone correct me if I'm wrong, and he was fighting a lot more smarter than what I thought he would do. I mean, Dinesh, you think he'll go in with like the same game plan, or will he switch it up? Well, what do you think's best for him?
I don't think he'll go with the same game plan because what you're right in what you were saying. What he was doing is Max was pressuring. He was getting in exchanges with Alex, and Alex would always have the final shot. He would always have the final shot, and it was the more prominent shot as well. Yeah. So the flurries always ended in favour of Alex, whether he engaged in them first or as a reaction.
Which was a shock to everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, I get. Yeah, because really, if you look at the fights that Alex has in the UFC, he's never really fought a volume fighter, and that's what Max's bread and butter is. The thing that I think Max can really do to make a difference here is in all of his more recent fights. I've seen because he's had a lot of fights in UFC.
He's had a lot.
he's had a lot of fights. Yeah, he's one of the
for vets. Someone that's 28, he has a lot of fights in the UFC. Yeah. There's a few fighters like that. Charles Oliveira.
And he's been into like the big contender fights as well. With like the top of the top.
That's it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You look at his losses. Even they're all against top fighters.
Exactly.
That's why he's considered one of the best in that featherweight division. What do you think? Do you reckon he's getting the win, Dinesh? Are we all saying Holloway, or anyone going for Volkanovski?
Yeah, so
he has that championship mentality to make the differences. So
but don't underestimate Volkanovski. Like one shot, you know what I mean? Like punches and bunches. He's a strong guy. He looks like a bloody strong guy, honestly. Like
rugby player,
that's what it is. He's got that's incredible, man. How can he be that size and 200 pounds? Yeah.
How tall is he? Do you guys know?
5'5".
He's 5'5", 200 pounds. That's crazy.
Huggable size. No, I'm kidding.
If you see the size of his legs, like it's tree trunks. Do you know what I mean? He's got massive legs.
And I think one thing we're forgetting as well is I think Dinesh touched on it, but like Max Holloway has been through a lot of wars, and especially the Brian Ortega fights and Dustin Poirier, that fight. How much did that take out of Max in a sense? Because that's the one thing. Like when even though he is 28, he's been around for quite some time, and when the damage is done, we've seen it even with Stipe. If you look at Stipe in his exchanges through Francis Ngannou, he's not ever looked the same since then. So it's like, how much damage can these fighters take before it pays its toll in a sense?
Exactly.
It's true.
Unless you're the Diaz brothers.
It's true. We've got another title fight, the third one of the night. Is it the third one? Is there 4 title fights?
3 title fights.
Sorry, 3 title fights. The third one of the night, we've got Peter Yan and Jose Aldo fighting for the vacant bantamweight title. Who do we think is winning that? Not a lot of people are happy with that as well, because obviously Jose Aldo coming off a couple of losses.
Yeah, 2 losses in a row.
He's got a title shot. Yeah. What do you think about that one, guys? Josh, let's kick it off for you for this one. Who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, it's just the business, isn't it? Who's the biggest star in that division right now?
Yeah. Sterling.
If it isn't Jose, who is it? So that's the only like difficulty. I mean, that's what happens when a champion as dominant as Henry leaves. Like it's one of those ones where essentially there's such a massive gap, and when he just leaves just like that, and the way he left as well, it's quite difficult for the UFC. So Uncle Dana again has to just make decisions that will make the money. Do you know what I mean? How many champions does Brazil have at the moment? Apart from Amanda Nunes, they don't really have any.
Jessica Andrade, yeah. She is a champion, yeah.
No, she lost to Whaley.
Yeah,
that is true. Yeah, I thought this was I thought they were fighting for the belt. Yeah.
No. So who is in that bantamweight? Isn't Cody No Love in that? He just fought his fight.
Yeah, but even him, he's coming off. Do you know who's going to be the next star in that? Sugar O'Malley. Yeah,
it's true.
Sean O'Malley,
it's true. They are grooming.
It's too early for him for a title shot as well.
Yeah, he had a little Twitter beef with, I think it was Peter Yan.
Yeah.
Naturally,
where he said you don't even have to spell your own name because you know he's
Peter.
There are a few fighters ahead of him, ahead of Jose Aldo in the rankings, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Marlon Moraes will be
exactly. So
Dominic
like,
Cruz will still be ahead of him.
Yeah, there's Aljamain Sterling as well.
Maybe I think even Dominic Cruz should have been there.
Yeah, I mean it's arguable that stoppage was early, you know?
It was very early. I think, in my opinion, I think he could have gone on a little bit longer.
That's why a lot of people...
Aldo actually had the title shot before Dominic Cruz. They had to change the location.
Oh, yes.
Because they had to change the location, they just chucked Cruz in there.
Right.
So really, maybe
that.
because they had a prior agreement. Maybe part of his contract was, we'll give you the title shot.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Oh, well. Moving on then. I mean, that fight is probably not the most exciting fight, but it will be a good one nonetheless. The next one there is Jessica Andrade and Rose Namajunas. For one, I'm really looking forward to that. Rose hasn't fought in a while. She's one of my favorite women fighters. It'd be good to see her fight. What do you think of Dinaz? Who's winning that one?
Just based on the last fight, which wasn't that long ago, Namajunas was peppering her. Andrade got some good shots on her, but she was just peppering her, and then she just dropped her with that slam. So I'd have to go with Namajunas, and I wouldn't be surprised if Rose is the favourite, despite losing in the first round. I think it was.
100%.
I think Rose is the favourite, and I think Rose will, at the very least, get a decision out of her. I still think Andrade's the best in their division, though.
Doug Rose, as they say. And anyone with Andrade? Anyone?
Nah.
I mean, Andrade is strong.
Tumbleweed.
She's a good grappler. but
can anyone make a case?
Yeah, she can crack her. She can not.
She slams him again. Slams her again. You know, you never know.
Slams her again.
He slams her again.
But I mean, even then, Rose hasn't got that regular kind of sport jiu-jitsu. She's got really tricky jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, she's got her own unique kind of style of fighting.
She's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and she trains with her fiance.
Yeah,
they've got he's got good striking, so that's why she's got very good striking.
On the last one is Amanda Ribas and Paige Van Sant. Paige Van Sant on the main card. She hasn't fought in ages. Well, why is she there, guys?
she's a marketable star, isn't she?
Oh, because she's an amazing fighter, of course.
Yeah, she won't be there very long, though. She's been talking. She's been speaking out about pay.
She's not happy, is she? She's one of them that's not happy.
Yeah, she's one of the ones that isn't happy. And Ribas isn't an easy fight. That's a hard fight. She's
only lost once. She's 9-1.
Yeah, 9-1.
You know, but I don't think she's lost in the UFC.
Hasn't lost in the UFC. I reckon Ribas will clean her out, man.
I guess easy fight for Ribas.
I reckon so. And then you just say bye to Paige, and she'll probably go over to Bellator with her partner and earn a bit more money in marketing and whatnot. But yeah, that's the main card, guys. Good to obviously hear your takes on that. Moving on. Obviously, there's going to be loads of other fights coming on this year. Stipe and DC is coming up. Gaethje and Khabib, Izzy and Paulo Costa and Conor, whoever the hell Conor's going to fight. Josh, what fight are you looking forward to seeing the most?
The most, so the most definitely, I would love to see KG versus Khabib. If Khabib's going to come back, obviously, because we know what happened to his father, unfortunately, and RIP. But it's one of those ones where if he does come back, that would be an incredible fight. But for me, on a personal, not on a personal level, but I really want to see DC versus Stipe, because I think DC is a person who's given it all. And Dinaz could attest to this. I'd never really liked DC because I'm a John Jones stan, but I respect the hell out of DC. I really do. I think he's an incredible fighter and done so much for the sport. Incredible commentator as well. So it would be good for him to go off in the sunset with his trilogy, winning it, because I think he's dominated Stipe twice. Honestly, I think Stipe got him with a gut punch, and then it threw DC off. But I reckon he beat Stipe, and I think Stipe's been running scared, to be honest.
He was not in shape for that second fight. If you look at the shape he was in the first fight versus the second fight, is visibly different. And I just don't think he took Stipe. He didn't give Stipe the respect he deserved. Stipe went 5 rounds with Francis Ngannou and didn't lose any of those rounds.
Yeah,
didn't lose any of them.
I'm still amazed by that.
The closest he's looked to be before being knocked out by DC, the closest he ever looked to getting beat. He also got knocked out by Struve, but that was in I think his first fight in the UFC. I remember Junior Dos Santos. He faced him and lost a split decision, but then came back in the rematch and just smashed him when he was champion. So Stipe does good in rematches.
100%. So what are you going Stipe for this one to win the trilogy, Dinaz?
No, I think DC. I think the thing with DC is it's a very mental thing for him. So having lost that fight, he will only come back if he thinks he'll win. Yeah, I think he can win if he comes in the shape that he did the first fight.
100%. Is that the fight you're most looking forward to seeing for the rest of the year, or you got any others in mind?
I mean, there's no specific fights, just the ones you mentioned, but it's more about seeing fighters back in action. I thought Charles Dubronx Oliveira had a fight lined up. I can't remember who it was against. It might have just been a call out. Sure. I think it was Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
you might be right. Yeah,
that's like the Tony versus Khabib that we never got, so it's going to be.
That's true.
I really want to see that Izzy versus Paulo Costa fight.
A lot of bad blood.
That'd be a good fight. That'd be a very good fight.
Beatable in any of their fights. Even the Gastelum fight when Izzy lost a few rounds, he didn't look like he was going to lose at any point.
No,
like he was losing points, So
it's a shame though, with Izzy's fights. Obviously, he's the reaction type fighter. So that fight against Joe Romero was just so disappointing. Oh man, a big time snooze fest. I mean, hopefully you won't get that with Paulo Costa. I think Paulo Costa will look to try and take his head off. He doesn't like him that much. But 100%. Izzy's definitely someone to look out for as well. I mean, Izzy, what about yourself? Izzy here. what fight are you looking forward to most?
I mean, I love the welterweight division. I love the lightweight division. I love the the whole Khabib, Tony, Gaethje, Conor, sort of like this whole shebang that's going on with all of them and who's going to fight who, and contract problems here and there. But I think whoever Khabib fights next, it's going to be a good fight. If he ever gets to fight this year, with what's going on with the family and that. But I think 100%. Conor as well. I think Conor should fight Tony Ferguson if that's going to happen, or maybe it talks about another fight with Diaz or Dustin. But I think Conor just needs to come back and just sort of solidify his position in the division. I think if he ever was to fight Khabib again, it would be different. But if that happens, that's one fight I'm looking forward to. Conor and Khabib, whenever that is gonna, if it's on the card. But with the talk of Conor retiring and stuff, you never know, innit?
It's like what's that? Like the third time he's retired on Twitter now.
Yeah. I guess so.
Does anyone take that seriously?
Nah,
it shouldn't even be news. But I think because there's not a lot of MMA news coming out, they got. I don't think anyone that even writes about it believes it.
I think he's just trolling. I think it's just a troll.
He's got to fight Dustin. He's got to fight Dustin because he owes Dustin a rematch, and Dustin makes sense for him and for Dustin. For Dustin, it's avenging the loss, and for Conor, it's like fighting number 1 or number 2 in the rankings after the champion. And Dustin's not going to get a title shot against Khabib anytime soon. So the two of them should face. The winner can face their champion, whether it be Justin or Khabib. That's what I think should happen.
What happens to Tony then?
Ooh.
Tony's important in that as well, but I guess.
But he lost his last fight. I guess he could take the loser out of that.
Yeah, he could take. Yeah, that's
Whoever loses.
Maybe
I
he
think
should.
Justin has a chance. So.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'd love to see Tony Ferguson fight again. Yeah, I was so surprised. Obviously, just going back to what we were talking about before with the Gaethje fight. Just surprised at how good Gaethje was. Like literally, his fight IQ was through the roof. But there is one fight that I want to see. I don't know if it will happen, but if the stars align, it might. Is Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. If that fight happens, there's so much. Well, I don't even know if it's real bad blood because obviously they used to be roommates or whatnot. But the storyline's there. You know, the pre-fight antics are going to be through the roof with them two, and the build-up's going to be great. So that's probably the fight if it can happen. I don't know how. How can it happen? Jorge would have to beat Usman. And
I think it will happen either way. I think win or lose, that's Jorge's next fight.
You reckon?
It's less likely to happen if he wins because I think they might try and put Leon Edwards in because he's on a 7-fight win streak. And obviously Masvidal gave him the 3-piece and a soda backstage.
3-piece and soda backstage.
But I think the sensible thing, if Masvidal wins, the sensible thing is he faces Leon Edwards.
Leon Edwards. Yeah. He's definitely in
Do you think it'll be for
the...
Do you think it'll be for the title? This is if Masvidal beats Usman, do you think Leon will get a title shot straight away?
Yeah, it has to. 100% they'll do that. They'll 100% do that because
just for the publicity, I think that would make the fight just a build up. Yeah.
Either one of those fights. That's the thing with Usman. Like neither fight seems that appealing because he's already beaten Covington, and in my view, he beat him decisively, and he's already beaten Leon Edwards.
What about Gilbert Burns then?
Yeah, it'll have to be Gilbert Burns. So that's why I think if Masvidal wins, he will have the pick of anyone, and all the fights are compelling. The Gilbert Burns fight is less compelling, but they'll definitely go with either Covington or Leon Edwards. I think if it was fair, it should be Leon Edwards, but I'm not mad about the Covington prospect either.
Yeah, no, it's true for sure, definitely, guys. I mean, yeah, all of these fights that I'm just happy fights obviously going on, which is the main thing. But just looking at that UFC welterweight division though, we've got Gilbert Burns here as the number 1 contender, Covington at 2, then Masvidal and Leon Edwards, who make up the sort of the top 5. So I guess if Masvidal does win, he's looking up. It would have to be Burns or Leon Edwards for that next title fight.
And then Usman would fight whoever the other contender is.
Exactly.
Just to probably get redemption.
So it would be very harsh on Burns if he doesn't get the next shot. Just on the simple fact that he should have been fighting now. So, but obviously you've made over your case for Leon Edwards. Obviously 7 fights.
Arguably Leon would have got the shot if it wasn't for the whole COVID thing, because he would have faced Tyron Woodley instead.
Didn't he say he was going to fight?
No, it was. Well. I had tickets to it. They cancelled.
Oh, mad. Oh, sad times.
Right. In the UFC London, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was going to be in London. So
that's a good fight.
We don't know if he would have beaten Woodley, but
who knows, guys? Who knows? Moving on, then we've got Josh's wild takes. What have you got for us this week, Josh?
So
wild
the new viewers.
Wild takes. Wild takes.
That's a terrible jingle. That's not the jingle. And anyway, for the viewers, especially probably this new UFC fan base, guys, if you don't know about Wild Takes doesn't discriminate. Wild Takes is generally about people who talk pundits, because we're sick of the pundits. Let's plug.
Sick of them.
People who talk nonsense, and they need to be called out. This is why I'm here. I'm here to call you out. I'm here. So Wild Take this week. And by the way, the jingle for Wild Takes is Wild Takes. Wild Takes.
Where's the guitar?
Well, the guitar is out of tune. But anyway, so the Wild Takes this week is Mr. Max Kellerman, the boxing expert, the boxing guru, the boxing guy. I cannot question your boxing IQ, but when you say stuff like this, you need to be called out for it. Max Kellerman went on ESPN on his great show First Take, which has Stephen A, who's a never culprit. But we'll get to you, Stephen A. We'll get to you. He goes on and he says, the UFC does not need Conor McGregor. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you might think, do you know what Max has a point? We literally just went through the lightweight division, and then we went through the welterweight division, and you look at Conor McGregor, and where does Conor McGregor fit in that? My friends, Conor McGregor is like getting a title fight. It is fighting Conor McGregor, like he said, red panty night. It is like, that's a terrible Conor McGregor, but it's like, it is like getting it is. No, I can't do Conor McGregor. That guy can. Hey, can.
50 G's, baby.
That wasn't too bad too. That wasn't too bad. But like he's the golden nugget. Everybody wants to face Conor, and you're lying if you don't. And look, and if Khabib doesn't come back, definitely Gaethje. It's going to be Gaethje versus Conor McGregor, because he is the, like, when we're talking about the UFC and what really changed the UFC, you're looking at people like Brock Lesnar, who came, he brought WWE fans. Then you got Ronda Rousey, who had her stint, made it massive, but nobody's moved the needle like Conor McGregor. So when Conor McGregor comes in, he's the biggest star without a shadow of a doubt. So Max Kellerman, suck some eggs, bro, because you are wrong.
Is there any argument against that? I mean, he's not currently got an opponent now. Not to say that they don't need him, but they've got other rising stars. I mean, Dinesh, what do you think about Max Kellerman?
I don't think UFC need Conor McGregor. No, honestly, because I've seen them come and go. I remember when Roger Huerta was supposed to be like the big thing.
The next big thing, yeah, I remember that.
First guy on Sports Illustrated. He wasn't happy with the pay. He left. He went to Thailand. You don't really hear about him anymore. I mean, last I remember, he got his head kicked. He got a soccer kick, KO'd. It was in the rules, so it was allowed out there. But they just come and go. And the thing is we've seen the best of Conor. We've seen him reach the level. No, and I don't mean that in terms of like he's not a good fighter anymore. I mean like we've seen him against the current champion. He's not going to do, I don't think he's going to do anything different that will make a big difference to that fight if he gets a rematch. People want to see Conor McGregor fight probably more than anyone, but no one really wants to see him fight Khabib. They want to see him fight Nate Diaz. They want to see him fight. Yeah, arguably, Nate Diaz's name only gets put together with Conor McGregor's now anyway. Who else do we want to see Nate Diaz fight? That many years in the UFC.
It's taking so much damage.
It's taking so much damage. It's predictable. His style hasn't even changed. Someone like Conor McGregor puts interest back on Nate Diaz. And I'm a big Nate Diaz fan, but it's just how many times do we want to see the same thing? He's either getting wrestled, taken down, or he's getting boxed up without getting knocked out.
Yeah.
So I think Max Kellerman's got a point. If you look into what he's saying deeply, the UFC will be fine without Conor McGregor.
It's an interesting angle.
The fighter is bigger than the UFC, and they've done that on purpose. They've built the business model around the fighters like that on purpose. The fighters need the UFC.
Yeah, no, it's true for sure. I mean, I guess when you look at it from like maybe just the fighting standpoint, like you said, fighters come and go. But I think with the UFC and the way they've built Conor McGregor, it's just everything else that comes with it. It's all the media does, everything else that he does, his whole persona, everything is about him, which is why obviously he is the main guy in the UFC at the moment. I mean, Izzy, I know you're a big Conor McGregor fan. What do you think about what Max Kellerman said?
Listen, I don't really like that guy. I think he's just it's just a boxing pundit. It's not really like Conor McGregor went and fought Floyd. I guess he can give some sort of opinion, but I think Conor McGregor and the UFC bounce off each other very well. I think they bring, positive towards each other, and in terms of, revenue buys, in terms of just increasing the awareness. I think the UFC still has a lot of room to grow, and someone like Conor McGregor is the person to, make that transition,
take them to new heights.
Precisely, sure. Yeah, and I think
he fights.
Exactly, and I think it gets bigger and bigger just because Conor is a very intelligent individual in terms of marketing himself, and I think the UFC always needs that. And I think that MMA is still growing. People still, there's a lot of people out there that don't know what MMA is, and when they see someone exciting like Conor, so sharply dressed and witty banter, and he comes out and just kicks people's ass, and they're like, "Oh, okay, what's this?"
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, and I don't see it lasting for a while. I think Conor's gonna give up soon, maybe like another 2-3 years. But he has to solidify his legacy. He has to fight the best, and he has to, win.
He has to win. Yeah, 100%. I agree,
The Khabib
guys.
fight was, he should have got out from that straight away.
Yeah, he got mauled, mate. He got
Exactly,
absolutely mauled.
Exactly.
He went around though. He went around, and that's what a lot of people like. Khabib's. I don't think Khabib's lost a round in the UFC.
Yeah, that's true.
Conor came off a 2 year of doing absolutely nothing, playing pin the donkey with
proper 12
nothing.
whiskey. Yeah, drinking whiskey all day.
Oh man. Well, that would conclude everything we have, guys, on our Fight Island special. Sick of the pundits. UFC 251. On the outro, obviously, anyone want to plug their social media? Izzy? Where can we find more of you?
Though. That's it.
Izzy Really Though on Instagram.
Izzy Really Though on Instagram. And I'm always about there. So, Shami, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
No problem. Pleasure having you. What about you, Dinesh? Can we find you anywhere on the socials?
Yeah, I just have because I run a social media freelancing projects on the side. So there's DI Digital UK. You can follow on Instagram and Twitter.
Nice. We'll plug everything in the description on YouTube. Josh, do you want to take us out with any music on there?
Nah, I ain't got no music, man. Guys, just enjoy the weekend. Liverpool won the title, but we ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about.
We're not talking about
the next podcast.
I'm off. We're not talking about that. I'm sorry.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Take it easy.
Bye.